everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we're going to be reviewing A Flaming Fury by Michaela Bridge. This is the book that we read for my virtual book club, Read with Sin's Workshop. So, yay, let's get into it. I think one of the best things about this book is it has a unique and fresh feel to it. It deals with phoenixes. Now, we see phoenix in fantasy all the time, but they are not usually like core, center stage kind of creatures, right? Right now, we're seeing a lot of dragons, which I'm a token dragon girl. You know, I love dragons, clearly. I will read anything and everything that if it has a dragon in it. When it comes to romance and romantasy, sometimes a little iffy because, you know, I don't know how much of the story is going to, like, be there. But right now, we are seeing a dominance of dragons in fantasy. And that's kind of always been, you know, because dragons are dragons. They're these giant, fantastical beings that spew out fire and can shift depending on the lore you want to go with. There's so much you can do with dragons. You know, I play D&D, so I get it. But this is phoenixes. And it deals with phoenix lore. And phoenix racing, so it has like an urban feel to it as well that I really, really love. So it made it really fresh. It made it very unique in the throng of everything that is fantasy. Because sometimes, let's just be real. We can like everything that we like, but eventually sometimes things do tend to bleed and seem like something else that we read. This one felt very unique. It felt very fresh because it has an urban fantasy kind of feel. And you also have phoenixes that are core and center to the story, you know? Phoenix racing. That was just kind of awesome as well. So I really like that it was new and that it was fresh and that was different. And then we're definitely dealing with something different like Savita. She is this giant phoenix that Kel has nursed and taken care of since she was a child, right? And they have this relationship, her and Savita, you know, and I love their dynamic and the relationship that they have with one another. Kel respects Savita, you know, to her, phoenixes are more than just things to be raced. And I think what I really, really enjoyed with the story was there's a whole lot of talk about like collaring phoenixes and, you know, kind of caging them. And even when Kel is hurt and they're like, well, your phoenix abandoned you. And it's just like, I'm not going to blame a phoenix for following its natural born instincts. It is an animal. And what it wants is not always going to align with what I want and what I desire. Did I desire to be saved instead of, you know, falling to, you know, the ground while racing her? No. But I'm not going to blame my phoenix for following its natural instincts. It is an animal and it should be respected. And I love that about Kel. Like, she doesn't let her own, you know, like feelings, like she'll, in a moment, she'll feel like sad and abandoned, but she always quickly comes to the realization that no, these are animals. You know, they are powerful, fierce, fiery animals that are dangerous, but they shouldn't be collared or caged. They should just be revered and respected and treated as such, you know? And I love that about her. And I love that about the story because I feel like that's something, an idea that can translate very easily to real life. Like, you can't blame an animal for following its natural born instincts, you know, for obeying its natural born instincts. Like, why would you? It's so different. So I loved that about Kel and how you can translate her beliefs into real life. And I love the story as well, how she has so much guilt by racing Savita, because she's like, I really shouldn't be racing her, but I also need to protect the farm and I need to do this. I need the money, right? So she's a really, really good character because she has a lot of flaws. And she has a lot of believability to her as well. I will say, however, sometimes her self-righteousness did make her a little annoying. But there was a saving grace. You had Coop, who's obnoxious and arrogant in his own way. But what he does is he tempers her and he challenges her. So even when she's being self-righteous and you, the reader, you want to call her out for it, Coop does it for you. So like, okay, here we go. We're at the banter. Like, they don't like each other at all. She thinks he doesn't revere or respect animals, and it's the complete opposite. He's like, no, I am racing to the best of my ability so that I can also waste money. So their beliefs align, you know? And they have the same beliefs about phoenixes and how they should be taken care of and revered and respected, right? My only gripe, though, my real gripe with this is they go from enemies to lovers, right? I wanted to see more of the shift. And if you were following along with my read along, you knew that I wanted more of a shift with that characterization and their dynamic. I wanted more of a friendship to develop before we fell into the romance, because it felt too quick, you know? And I am someone, I love the enemies to lovers trope. I really do. It is one of my favorites. However, I am someone who appreciates more when there is a friendship that forms before we go straight from enemies to lovers, right? I understand. There's a thin line between hate and passion. Like, there really is, you know, a thin line there. But I always love seeing when we go from enemies to friends to lovers. Even if that friend snippet is very small and very brief, you can see something like building up. I mean, it was very obvious from the beginning. Yeah, they're totally going to end up together. That was obvious. That was a given. But I wanted to see more of that friendship dynamic build up between the two characters, honestly. So overall, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was fresh. It was unique. It had excellent pacing. It had really good character dynamics. Some of those plot twists, especially like with their friends like Ron, pissed me off. Like, when a book makes you feel things, that always is like a good saying. I'm like, fuck you, girl. I was really mad at her. I was really, really mad at her. But that means I was invested emotionally in the story because it aligned with the story, why she did what she did. I just kind of hated her for it. Like, it wasn't something completely out of left field that didn't make sense for the story. No, it made sense. So when a book makes you feel things, you know, that's always really good. I like feeling things when I read. You know, good things mostly. You know, I hate feeling like I hate this book. You know, I hate that feeling. Like, and I hate feeling bored. When I'm emotionally invested in the book and it gets me riled up, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do this. Then to me, that is a really good book. So, you know, really solid book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, definitely go ahead and pick it up. On that note, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all my book reading friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, happy reading.